Hello everyone, welcome to another video. So today we're in this 2004 Volkswagen Polo. This is the 1.4 TDi engine, but as with a lot of my videos, most of what we're going to talk about today will apply to pretty much any car, or most cars I would say, certainly sort of like older ones with any engine. So problem with this car, I'll show you if I start it up, is as you can see the alternator light or the battery light stays on. So that basically means the battery isn't being charged by the alternator, or at least the car thinks the battery isn't being charged by the alternator. Next thing we want to do is verify if the battery is actually getting charged or not. So I've got a voltmeter here, one connected up to the battery, and you obviously don't need two voltmeters, you can just use the one, because I've got two available to me. I've got a second voltmeter connected up to what's known as the alternator B post down there. So that's basically the heavy thick cable that connects the alternator to the battery. So basically I'm going to start the car up in a minute. As you guys heard it earlier, probably it's got a noisy idle, this car, so I don't want to try and speak over it whilst it's idling. But obviously at the moment we got just normal battery voltage showing up here. It's quite high because I've just charged this battery, and pretty much battery voltage just a little bit lower showing up on the alternator B post. So when we switch the car on, if it's charging correctly, we should see about sort of 13 and a half, 14, maybe sort of up to near 15 volts on there, something like that. And we should see that both at the battery and at the alternator B post. So basically if we've got a low voltage here but a high voltage at the alternator B post, it means that we've got a bad cable between the alternator and the battery. If we've got a high voltage, like 14 volts, let's just say, at both of them, it means that our alternator is actually working, it's actually charging. And if we've got a low voltage on both, it basically means the alternator isn't working, it's not charging. Okay guys, so sorry about the noise, but as you can see, engine is running, but we've got the same low voltage on both of those basically. So basically that confirms that the alternator is indeed not charging. So actually you can do at this point is just use something like your wheel brace to sort of like tap at the alternator like that. Sometimes that can actually get, if it is the alternator that's at fault, sometimes that can actually get it working, and that's actually a good test, because not only can it sort of like get the alternator working temporarily, get you home or whatever, but also it's a good diagnostic technique as well, because really if you've tapped on that and it started working, that pretty much confirms that the fault is with your alternator, because if it lays somewhere else, it's not going to start working by you tapping on the alternator. But in this case, I have actually tried that off camera, and well, I did film it, but with the engine like rattling away and stuff, and it seeing as it didn't work, there's no point in me showing you. I have tried it, it didn't work on this car in this case. Okay guys, so next we want to check the control side to make sure that alternator is being switched on. So as you can see, I'm now using some slightly modified paper clips, along with my two voltmeters to look at the two control wires coming into there. So there is a blue one and a brown and red one, and so at the moment, with just the ignition on, I got 9.8 volts on the blue and red one, and 1.17 volts on the brown one. So now let's start the engine and see what difference that makes, if any. So okay, engine now running, and the values are the same. Right, okay guys, so far what we've done is that we've verified that the battery is not being charged, And we've also verified that there is no charging voltage being produced by the alternator, so it's not a problem with this kind of main battery wire going to the battery. The alternator is indeed not charging. So then, so next thing we need to do is, before obviously condemning the alternator, we need to establish that this control circuit is functioning as it should. Now, alternators aren't like sort of like dynamos when they don't just spin round and produce power. They kind of need to be switched on. In the simplest cases, that can just be with like a power supply and maybe a separate ground or grounding through the alternator itself. But in most cases, it's a bit more sophisticated than that. Now, on this particular car, I've actually spent quite a bit of time trying to research on the internet, trying to figure out exactly how it works and exactly what we should expect to see on these two wires. And I've been a bit disappointed with the amount of information I've been able to find. But this is my understanding, which I'm fairly confident about, of what we should be seeing on these wires. Now, on the blue wire, that goes to the instrument panel, or I think it might go through like some other module, but eventually to the instrument panel. And that's actually what makes the lights on the dash go on and off. So basically, what happens is when the ignition is switched on, but the alternator isn't producing any voltage, this is effectively a ground, and the light gets grounded through this wire. When the alternator, so the light comes on, when the alternator starts producing power, this ground is. I kind of indicated that the wrong way around. Sorry. So the light gets grounded this way through the alternator, is what I should have said. So when the alternator starts producing power, this ground is lost, and so the light goes off. So if you remember, we observed a very low voltage on that wire. I think it's like 1 volt or something. So that's effectively pretty much a ground. So that makes me think that wire, that's probably about correct. That's what we should be seeing on that wire. And I also did another check of with the ignition on. I just unplugged this connector, and the light did go off on the dash. So again, that makes me think this wire is working correctly. Now, that is important that this wire is working correctly, because the reason being is, as well as doing the light on most systems, including this one, this also sort of starts up the alternator. Is instrumental in starting up the alternator. So this does need to be correct to make the alternator work. Now, next one is the brown and red one, and sorry. So I'm not 100% sure about this, but I'm sort of 90% sure that if we had an oscilloscope, what we should be seeing on the brown and red wire with the ignition on is this kind of square wave like this. Okay, so obviously I haven't got an oscilloscope, and which is kind of good in a way, because if you're watching this video, you probably haven't got an oscilloscope either. So without an oscilloscope, what would this translate to a meter reading? Now, because effectively a meter will give an average of these ups and downs, like a simple voltmeter. So basically, what I did was I've reproduced this diagram here, but on the diagram I very carefully measured these sort of the on and off periods that we're supposed to be seeing, and I found that we're supposed to be seeing 10 parts on for 3 parts off. So that means out of 13 parts in total, it should be on for 10 parts. So that's the ratio. If we then multiply that by the battery voltage, we should get 9.6 volts. And if you remember, that's pretty much exactly what we were seeing. So, based on that, I personally would be reasonably confident to think, yes, this is all correct. the alternator is definitely not charging, so it must be the alternator that needs replacing. And normally at this stage I'd be saying, well, I'm going to order the alternator and I'll see you guys when it arrives. But in this particular case, this car has other issues apart from the alternator, and we've decided that it's actually like not worth like going ahead with like trying to get it repaired and back on the road. It's going to need too much money spending on it. So unfortunately, it is probably going to need to get broken for parts. So we're not going to be going ahead with the repair. But as I said, otherwise, I think the information here is good, or the where we've got to with our diagnosis is like reasonably good enough to condemn the alternator and replace it. On that point, the good news about these particular alternators, just to let you know, is that because on most alternators you end up having to replace the whole thing, but on these particular ones you can just replace this rectifier part, which is most likely the part that's faulty. And actually, I've had a look on eBay. You can get them very cheap for about 20 quid or so. So you know, so that, you know, that hopefully it could be a relatively cheap fix. So I think that's about all to say on that one, guys. You know, I'm sorry not to be able to show you the fix, but I'm going to put this video up anyway, because I think the diagnosis process that we've gone through, and hopefully this information here, which I know is not perfect, it's not definite, but it still took me quite a few hours to actually find it, believe it or not. So you know, I hope it will be helpful to you. So yeah, I hope it is, and I think that's all there is to say. By the way, if you do go through this process, and you know, please comment, you know, what figures you found if you did replace the alternator, and it hopefully did fix it. Please maybe, like, you know, a comment to confirm that it did. You know, that would be helpful to me and to other people watching. And thank you for watching, and I'll hopefully see you guys on the next video soon. Bye bye.